All right,
And
looks
with the
like
flip
we
of the
are
switch,
live.
there you go. He's New York Vinnie and Michael Knight, and we're up and at 'em.
Yes, we are. We're here on your little box in your electronic configurement of what you use to make us come through your radio or television or
Your
whatever
computer.
it is. We're late as usual, but we can't be blamed for that.
You can blame us, but it won't do you any good.
Right? We can't be blamed for that. We've had technical difficulties this morning, and between things that are going on and things that we think may eventually go on this morning and things that have been disrupted by much of the stuff that has occurred this morning around the world and around the country.
Well, right now, the European press is trying to figure out what the hell Donald Trump said. He kept talking for 45 minutes, but what did he say? We can't,
Well,
it's
what
without
does he
focus.
ever say? I mean, what does he? And I'm just looking at the headlines crossing over the bottom of my television set. Any reason why they can't put these crawls on the top of the television instead of the bottom?
No, tradition says at the bottom.
Well, screw tradition. I just got it done with tradition. But anyway, yeah, I don't think they're ever going to figure it out. How do you figure out what somebody's saying when they don't know what they're saying?
Or even, he's not even paying attention. You know, he doesn't pay the least bit of attention. Laura O'Donnell, the veteran reporter for NBC News, got ravaged today by him in front of the crowd. And she handled it very well and just kept asking the question. She stayed focused.
We talk about Kelly O'Donnell, the redhead.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I sometimes get the names because there's Nora O'Donnell and there's Kelly O'Donnell, and
she's slightly Irish.
Yeah, good for the Irish. Give Ireland back to the Irish.
She maintained. And give Denmark back to Greenland, or the other way around. However you want to do it.
He's she's a very competent reporter. I mean, Nora from CBS is a very competent anchor.
Right.
I mean, she sits in that seat when she is anchoring the news, and
she doesn't anchor anymore.
Yeah, but when when they have her sitting in the seat or she's doing something, I enjoy her. Kelly O'Donnell is a very I'm not to say that Nora is not, but she's a very intelligent, astute observer. She comes up with good questions.
She's a veteran of the tough beat.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to take any bullshit from anybody as far as
she didn't bite on any of his taunts.
Yeah, he just seemed to she just seemed to always seems to handle herself in a good professional manner without any kind of here, I'll show you how this works. Let's just get it over with and boom.
It was Pete Hegseth's turn to defend the president. He had to stand up and say that how we had all been evil and terrible and treated him awfully. And that the pilots of the planes were devastated by the way the news coverage was portrayed on the electronic media of the United States. Devastated. They were in tears.
The pilots, we're talking about people that we send into, we hang some stars on the side of billion-dollar planes and hand them the keys to it and say, go up there and fly this thing until you find something you can kill. And we're expected to believe that they're upset because Kelly O'Donnell or Nora O'Donnell or Ronald McDonald.
How about Peanuts McDonald? Remember him?
Peanuts is upset them. Is that what we're expected to believe?
They were beside themselves with.
Well, that's never a good thing because it makes it awful crowded in the cockpit
It's
of an
very
airplane.
Move over, wait. I'm beside myself.
Yeah, it's just first of all, I've been in the cockpit of one of those airplanes, and the belt is not made big enough to come across your two bodies. So you're in trouble there. So Hegseth said that they were upset that Kelly O'Donnell or a combination
it was suggested in the press that the bombs did not complete the job, that there wasn't obliteration. It was, in fact, something that could probably be recovered within 3 to 6 months, according to the United States intelligence report.
Well, that's, what I say, shame on them. If you're a soldier and we're paying you, a couple of $1,000s a month to go up in the sky in your airplane, and you get into a pissy mood because somebody said something you didn't like.
Maybe you're not cut out to be a pilot of a B-2.
Yeah, maybe you ought to be peeling fucking potatoes somewhere.
How about the latrine? No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, you're supposed to throw that stuff supposed to slide off your back. That stuff is supposed to not affect you. You're supposed to be somebody who's built to just not affect you. And if it does affect you somehow, some way, you should probably
look for another line of work. Now, when you're driving, when you're flying a B-2 and you drop a 30,000-pound bomb, does the plane change direction? Does it go whoop? Does it go actually gain altitude because it's lighter now?
You think it would? You think it would just go and start to go up because you've just dropped 30,000 pounds?
Right. That's my idea.
But if it throws up because of that, I mean, if it starts to fly upwards or in a different direction, then maybe you're not the person that should be flying that plane.
We're finding a lot of reasons these pilots can't do their jobs.
Well, here's the thing: I don't buy any of it. I think it's just. I mean, maybe Commander Slapdick can't handle it. Maybe he's somebody that can't come up with any kind of reason that he can't do this or can't do that, or maybe he's got salt in his margarita, or I don't know. Come up with a reason, but I don't think the Top Gun boys are sitting around in the bar in San Diego there after the game, or after the war, I should say, in the post-war show, and worried about anything or what anybody thinks.
The war is so short that you can't get back to the studio for the post-war show with Scott Van Pelt.
Yes, with Van Pelt. I mean, the guy who's had a show made, a helmet made out of his show. so I don't know. That's the thing. I don't buy anything that anybody in this administration says.
It would be wise to take it with a grain of salt, but we just did the salt.
A rock of salt, a rock of a rock or something. I don't
30,000-pound delivery of salt.
Yeah, I don't buy much of what any of them are saying. Now they said that they have all sorts of different problems, and they don't seem to get along. They don't seem to they take offense to this, but I don't buy it. I don't buy it that you have these tough guy soldiers that get upset because some woman said that they were, that they were that,
They
that
didn't destroy the target after all.
yeah. First of all, it's all a bunch of bullshit. Nobody knows what's true and what's not true, do they?
Well, if
I
you
don't
hear
know.
if you hear it from Donald Trump, you can absolutely guarantee that it's not true.
Yeah, it may prove to be true that they did something, but I don't know how to sort out all his bullshit. I'm sorry, I don't understand how to sort out anything that this guy is saying as as fact.
Well, keep it
Uh,
simple. If he says it, it's not a fact.
yeah, yeah,
If he denies it, it's a good chance that it is a fact.
you're better off that you shouldn't. You should anything you hear him say is probable cause to believe that it's not true. So, um, I don't know. I don't buy that. If you're going to tell me that somebody's upset because Kelly O'Donnell said something about uh, the the troops,
The pilots,
the pilots, the different personnel. I don't care if they change tires on the plane.
the result of their sortie.
Yeah, if you're going to tell me that they're upset about that, then you shouldn't be there.
Too fragile for the job.
Yeah, you're too fragile. And listen, nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, there's been other people that have been ashamed of it or have not been able to operate and function over those different problems. I don't know. So anyway, that seems to be if that's a problem for them, give you a nice listen. They need a lot of air traffic controllers.
Yeah, that's the job you could have. You're sort of halfway there already.
Yeah, you got that going on. That seems like it's something that you could do.
Probably
Go
pays
get
more.
yourself.
Air traffic controllers make more than a B-2 pilot, don't you think?
Probably, yeah, it just doesn't seem like it doesn't to me seem like there's a lot of truth to whatever they're trying to dish out to people there. That I doubt that these people that they're handing these planes over to fly them up the main street of Hormuz or whatever they're calling it this week. That they're upset about anything. These are tough people. They're in a plane. If all else fails, they got a parachute to get out of the plane, right?
Unfortunately, those parachutes land in Iran. Why did you pull the plane wasn't flying anymore. I had to pull the lever, and you knew where you were, right? Well, I had a suspicion I was still over Iran, but I thought maybe I'd land in the Straits of Hormuz, international waters.
Well, yeah, I mean, people didn't seem to. They weren't good at figuring these things out. So, eventually we'll probably know the truth because nobody in America can keep their mouth shut about anything. So we'll eventually know. But I'm not. I have a little bit more faith in our troops, in our pilots, and our co-pilots, and our tire changers, and our Les Schwab people. I just have a little more faith in our people.
You know what Les Schwab says?
On time or it's free.
Right. That's what he says. Right.
Right.
That's all he says.
That's all he says.
The announcer tells you where to go and how to be there and what time it's open, and then Les Schwab just says, right.
Right. It Yeah, it's yeah. I have more faith in our
It's a bit of a
troops.
gimmick.
Yeah, well, the world is a gimmick, or is it a ghetto? I forgot now.
It's a
Um,
gimmick.
or maybe it's half gimmick, half ghetto. Wasn't that a song by Tony Orlando? Right, halfway to, but nah, maybe something different. Uh, so anyway, uh, so he's over there. Is President Slapdick soaking up the stuff that
Soaking up the NATO love. They love him.
they don't love? This is a guy who it only seems his big line for the week is "Let me go start a war uh, because I'll have a much better chance of getting a NATO peace prize."
But
If
also, he gets tired. He gets nauseous. He gets exhausted, and the war can only go for 2 days. That's it, tops. It's over. And he wants to say when it starts, and he wants to say when it ends, which is very unusual for a warmonger.
well, it seems that if
I'm
I
exhausted.
were
We're gonna have burgers and Diet Coke. The war's over. That's it.
yeah,
It's over.
is he getting Diet Cokes or is he getting regular? Oh, I guess he's getting regular Diet Cokes. But yeah, I mean, we did our job. We came in, we served up the burgers, we served up the French fries, and now it's time to get out of here.
War's over.
War's over. We say it is. Not quite the John Lennon version of things. You know, but it's the world according to Trump. And we have a song that will come up. We're going to change the name of the Defense Department to something else.
To
The War Department.
Gulf of Mexico. Oh, okay. Well, it was the War Department at one time.
Right. So you should be happy with that. And keep your mouth shut and continue. I I don't know, Michael. There's so many people saying so many different things about so much bullshit that I don't think anybody has uh, enough to say about it. There's nothing that you can believe.
No one's got
There's
the inside track.
Yeah, there's no faith in anything in this War Department.
By the
Or
way,
this.
Trump announced today that there is no inflation. So I just wanted you to know that in case you thought there was some. There isn't any.
I'll mention that to the person at the cash register that I paid $9 for a dozen eggs last night, because I think that they would appreciate that thought that there's no inflation. Now,
that doesn't go for baseball salaries too. Do you have to pay Cal Raleigh more because he's actually hitting the ball?
well, he just signed a brand new contract, so I don't know if you'd have to pay him much more.
Just the inflation, just to wet his beak.
Right. You don't have to pay him whatever it is. Although, I think to be fair, Michael, if he's hitting what he's hitting, you probably should give him a little taste, right?
Why not?
Give him a few extra bucks. Let him go in there and make him feel like he's something special. And this way, when he's not hitting in a couple of months, he'll turn to you and say, "Well, listen, I haven't been hitting in a couple of months, so maybe I'll take it light on you guys, and I really shouldn't be asking you for money."
Maybe he can take us to Ivar's at the airport.
It's a good idea. That's a really That's a really good idea.
It's a fine idea. Let's go. In fact, let's just go.
Yes.
We'll meet him there.
Yeah. I think that if you really think about it, that it would be a nice thing for them to say, "Listen, he's a nice kid. He's he's known as the catcher with the biggest ass."
You mean Ivar or Cal?
So why not give him some money?
He's the catcher with the what?
The biggest ass. His nickname,
bar none.
yeah, his nickname is Big Dumper.
Well, possibly. You know more
Yes.
about the team than I do.
Well, that's what they've called him. That's what they've said it. That his nickname is Big Dumper. So,
Not the Big Dipper.
not the Big Dipper, plus you can't have tobacco anymore. So you have to go with Big Dumper, and the Big Dumper is strategically indicates that he is some kind of legend, as a legendary ass. Now, when I was fooling around and playing baseball,
When I was a kid, we didn't have those things.
we had them, but it had a different. It wasn't the same ass. A legendary ass meant something different.
March shot.
Well, it just meant that they just didn't have. They didn't seem to have. Asses weren't referred to. I'm trying to put this delicately. Legendary asses were meant more in the vein of a woman's ass than it was a man's ass. If somebody had a legendary ass, it was because it was shaped in a certain way and it was pleasing. And
I think you've strayed from. I was suggesting lunch at Ivar's. We're getting pretty far from Ivar's, even though.
Oh, we left Ivar's and we passed. We went past Carvel, Ivar's, and the Derigold Creamery. Anyway, what I think we now have is we have a person who but if you got to get out of there, and you have to say that there's something funny about the way this guy's pants fit. Maybe you have to come up with just something a little different. I don't know.
See, Cal, no respect for catchers, even if you're leading the league. No respect.
That's it, Mike. You just hit the nail on the head. This guy, nobody should have anything to say about his ass. If he's got a huge ass, he's got a huge ass, and he's got a big dumper, and let's be happy with that. But no, there's got to be somebody who's going to be upset. Poor Dan Wilson, he doesn't have a legendary ass. I haven't heard anybody say anything about his butt.
No, not very often.
Poor guy. The big dumper. I might be embarrassed to be called that, but what we used to call somebody with a big ass? Lard ass.
Lard ass.
Lard ass. That was somebody with a big ass. That had a big ass.
That's suitable.
Was lard ass.
I can work with that.
So, So Trumpy went over to the thing today over there and met with the leaders, the
NATO headquarters.
in the NATO headquarters, or Tano.
OTAN.
OTAN, thank you. OTAN.
You can have it any way you want. You can have a NATO, you can have an OTAN. You can have an OTAN NATO, you can have a NATO OTAN, you could have a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Why? I don't know why we need these fancy names for guys' asses, but that's again beyond my comprehension.
I don't think NATO's named after anybody's rear hand quarters.
Oh no, it is. It's named after General Stanislav Kovalevsky.
He's still around?
Yeah. His is who that.
He's from Slovakia, right? I think he's from Slovakia.
I think he's straight. And I think he's a straight. Well, I don't know. If he's got a big ass, he might not be a straight. But he seems to be somebody.
I don't want to get any mail about this show. I'm telling you right now, fans.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to single letter about this show. We passed that point a half hour ago.
No comments, no nothing. Just
we passed that a half hour ago. Our production staff is down there in
dealing with the side effects.
In the office, dealing with the stuff already. So deal with it. You got to deal with that. So I think that
by the way, do you agree that Slovakia should be in NATO or OTAN?
I think they should be in OTAN. I don't think they should be in NATO.
Why did I know that was going to be your answer?
Yeah, you could have. I mean, you didn't really have to ask me that question, did you?
Well, for the audience, for Cal Raleigh, for his benefit, and for everybody over at iBars in line. I thought
is he related to Raleigh Fingers by any chance?
No, spelled differently.
Well, I knew that, but I just I wondered if there was any kind of I got a nose itch today. It's like won't stop itching. All right, so we got the so what's our next move here? As far as Slapdick, what are we? Where are we going with him? What are we doing with him?
He's going to have to come to terms with the truth about the bombing. Did it achieve what he said it achieved, total obliteration, or did it achieve what our intelligence said it achieved, which maybe knock them down for 3 to 6 months? We'll know when they have the bomb.
Well, we don't know. I mean, does anybody really have the bomb?
Well, you're on conspiracy. You're set on conspiracy today. Yes, somebody has it.
No, I just think that somebody should be telling us. We have the bomb. We don't have the bomb. The bomb's in the apartment. The bomb's not in the apartment. Where is the bomb? Who's got the bomb?
Bomb.
Oh, no. Come on, Michael. You remember this one. Bomb, Iran. Bomb, Iran. That was a big song in the 80s. Remember?
It's coming back. It's a recurrent.
It seems like it seems like Bruce is probably going to as a tribute to Brian Wilson.
And he didn't even write Barbara Ann.
Yeah, didn't make a difference, but they'll slip it in there as a tribute to Brian Wilson, a tribute to his prolific ability to
write songs under another name.
Yeah, come up with another song. Another group, and write it 2 years before. By the way, I wonder if Pete Hegseth has a big dump.
Oh, why am I laughing?
Yeah, I mean, he's standing there. He looks like he's ready to fight somebody.
I thought he was going to pass out. I thought he was going to go over like one of the royal guardsmen.
Yeah, he just looks. He looks like he's ready to either that or he's holding one in.
Well, he was leaning forward. It seemed like.
He's got his hands at his side, and he's in that typical Irish prone position of "I'm going to kick your ass."
I'm prone to be Irish.
I've seen this position before. I fought under this position, and he just looks like he's ready.
We know that can't be right because he's never been ready. If there's one thing he ain't ready.
Yeah, he's definitely not ready, or he's going to be somewhere where he doesn't belong. But I don't know, Michael. I hope that that they figure out this this whole thing, that they don't. Oh, we're in trouble. The little guy is up on the TV screen. When the little guy is up there, I always get worried. And I like him. But it just doesn't, it seems like every time, and I know that you know the guy I'm talking about. He used to be a newspaper reporter, but then CBS made him a television reporter. Ed O'Keefe. Used to be, I think, a Washington Post guy, if I'm not mistaken. And so he's got a solo shot from
Tehran, Tel Aviv.
No, he looks like he's standing in the middle of the room at the OTAN convention, which is probably why they won't let Slovakia in there. Because
they should let him watch so they get the hang of it when they join.
Well, I don't know what they're doing as far as letting them watch, but I don't really agree that the meals look like they're feeding these guys well. They all look like they're ready to break for lunch. Anyway,
well, the guy who used to do lunches for the Oakland A's now does lunch for the OTAN and NATO.
What? Who? That wasn't Vukovich. He was the equipment guy, right?
For the A's?
Yeah, for the A's. Steve Vukovich, I think his name was. I think he was he's the guy. Zelensky is saying that he had a good meeting with which he was probably required to say. If you want to have a good meeting with me, you have to tell people that you had a good meeting with me, whether it was the worst meeting you ever took in your life. So we'll see. We'll see how it shakes out. But I don't see, that's the thing. Now I don't see. Here's the problem. Now I don't know whether to believe Zelensky.
Oh, you're over the edge today, Ben. You're deep in it.
Well, but 2 weeks ago, they're practically cursing each other out on the White House lawn. Get me out of here!
But then he blew up all those the Russian planes.
Yeah, and then he blew up all those planes, and now all of a sudden I had a very good meeting. And it just doesn't seem that everything's not fitting in the right place that it's supposed to be.
Now you're talking about Hegseth again, his suit.
Well, no, I'm talking about Zelensky.
He doesn't wear suits.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't wear suits, does he? So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure the whole situation will change by Friday.
I'm sure the whole situation will change by noon.
Yeah, yeah, it's no lie. What everything you think you know, you don't know no more.
Everything you know is wrong.
And even if it's right, it's wrong. So President Trump says Iran's nuclear program has been obliterated by U.S. strikes and conflicting reports.
Well, there you go.
And that's on the.
So if he said it, that means it's true or not true.
Yeah, it's one way or the other. So you have that to keep an eye on. You want to keep an eye on that. You don't know as far as what to keep an eye on from who's in which country and who you have trust in because you have a lot of new players, new candidates, new people that all of them have been kind of compromised in one way or the other. Now here's another thing I got to ask you because you have a much better command of the English language than I do. Now, why do the Iranians seem to couple up all of their their city names in places that are right around Tehran?
Why do they have all those cities lined up in a row?
Tehran. Well, you know why do we seem, or they seem to have all of their cities, all of their nuclear stuff in cities, number one, and number two, the cities that they have that are around the nuclear stuff is all in one area, all close to each other, all very friendly toward well, everybody seems to be living next door to each other. You would think that you would move this stuff out, right? You'd have maybe the guys with the rockets over here, and you would have maybe the guys with the propulsion stuff over there. And so if you decided that you had to use some of this stuff.
Where are the guys with the enriched uranium? Because that's what we can't find. Where the hell are those guys?
And why do you name them such weird names? Fordo and Bosley Boop.
They spelled that wrong. It's Frodo.
Oh, is it? Okay, maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's what I'm not catching. But it seems like you have all of these cities all named strangely.
Remember what Gandalf said, fool of a took.
A took, it's all of these cities have all of these weird names, and all of the names are kind of takeoffs on names that are other places, on cities that are other places. So it seems like it's meant to confuse people.
Like pilots who are trying to drop the bomb right where it has to be, or else there won't be obliteration.
Right. It's like dusting. No obliteration. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a smart idea to me.
You think it would be better if they named it Indianapolis, Chicago, Boston, and Pasadena?
Yeah, I guess. I just think you'd be able to find some different names for these cities and try to confuse people, but nobody seems to be fooled or hoodwinked by any of this stuff. Everything seems to be where it was on a map 3 weeks ago.
Just deeper.
Just, it's like What was that show? Stump the Stars or something like that. It seems like it's a game board for Stump the Stars. You know,
Some stars are pretty easy to stump.
yeah. Stubby K was, you could always stump Stubby K. Guy was not a mental giant.
He was dumb as mud. Dumb as a mud fence.
Yeah, where were you? I mean, give him 2 copies of the Koran and he's got no idea what he's doing.
He likes check suits, by the way, Stubby K. He wanted you to know that if you have one that you want to get rid of.
Stubby did have that. Stubby did have that problem.
Got a little hat and a check suit.
Little hat with a check suit, and he's gonna feel bad for Stubby K.
And if you're in, let's say New York or Los Angeles, and you find a check suit in a Salvation Army, check right away to see if it's his. Check the check suit to see if it's his.
Well, yeah, and also check to see if there's a check in the pocket too. So
check the check of the check suit.
Check everything out, because chances are, if Stubby K is trying to get rid of it, it's not a good suit. The
what?
I thought for a second that the numbers changed in the New York City mayoral primary, but it didn't. It was Cuomo still remains in the number 2 spot.
About 10 points behind, right?
Oh, no, it seems like he's closed it. I thought it was like 40. It looked like it might have been like 43 to something around
36.
Yeah, like 6 behind or something like that. It looks like they've changed it, so he's not going to get.
He's not going to get anything.
Yeah, he's not. Well, he's going to run as an independent. I mean, I think it looks like, from what I read this morning and what I saw, is that he's just going to pick up the banner and. I mean, if his family just votes for him, he's going to close the gap like 3 or 4 points.
But he can't count on that vote. He never could.
Yeah, you're right. That's a very good point. He can't count on the people in his own family. So I hope he has to figure out, or has the wherewithal to figure out. I mean, it's amazing to me that he would have to figure all this stuff out. That somebody would be there to figure it out for him. But be that as it all may,
Stubby K could do it.
I don't know. What did Stubby K ever figure out?
Okay, now you're asking the hard questions.
Well, the guy's walking around penthouses in Hollywood. He's over there on Levine Drive, without the answers to questions that people want to know. So what gives you the confidence that he has any kind of solid footing in any of this stuff? He's Stubby fucking K. Come on.
I'm beginning to hallucinate, Vinnie. I think I'm going to have to call it a day.
Are you having a tough one with this, Michael?
I'm beginning to see the streaks. I didn't think I would, but now I'm seeing them.
Well, Michael, I knew that this was going to be a hard show to do when I heard the news late yesterday afternoon that singer and actor Bobby Sherman had passed away.
Yeah, and then it was 82.
Well, that was a surprise right there. I mean, I don't know. Did you think he was that old?
No, I thought I was older than he was.
So I felt bad. I mean, I know you want to run, so I'll save the story for Friday. Um, but Bobby Sherman has played an important role in my sister Marianne and I's life, in our relationship, in our brother and sisterhood. Uh, it's been he's been a piece of our family tradition and many other things. So we'll talk more about it on Friday if I can remember that far away.
I'll remind you, it'll be a Freaky Fractious Friday with a special edition for Bobby Sherman.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't any kind of just feeling bad. But I feel bad that the guy is no longer with us. But 82 is a good ride.
You can't ask for much more.
If you get 82, what more do you need to ask for?
83, 84.
Yeah, but as well as I do that you don't, that it's nice to think that you're going to get to that point. But by the way, we'll talk more about that on Friday. Tony and Ziva. Why? Why are we getting that?
They waited too long. They waited way too long to bring them
back.
I
mean, that's something that should have happened
5 years
the
ago.
day that they struck the set on Bull.
Right.
That should have been like, next up, Tony and Ziva.
And Ziva should have done a guest shot on Bull.
Yeah. Should have been something, and instead we really had nothing. Tony and Ziva sounds like a couple of people drinking a clear alcoholic beverage on a park bench. So anyway, all right. So we will gather again on Friday. Hopefully, the world doesn't blow itself up between now and then. The one good thing about Tony and Ziva is that they'll probably have something. The world doesn't blow itself up, that we have a world to come back to on Friday morning, and that and we'll see what happens with
Cal Raleigh.
Well, they're on the road, so who knows what's happening.
You got to eat what you can.
You get a per diem. I wonder if Cal Raleigh uses all of his per diem.
He gets Edgar's too. He uses Edgar's and then he eats his own.
Yeah, because Edgar takes care of himself. I mean, Edgar's a guy that he's a little pudgy, but he takes care of himself, Edgar.
He's a well-proportioned, pudgy hitting instructor.
Yeah, I would say that's a very honest assessment of what Edgar has going, Always been a guy that's taking care of himself, as long as I could remember.
He could have had a burrito, but he had a tostada instead.
No, and always a guy that was always willing to help other people.
With their per diem.
He's the guy that came up with the whole tennis ball thing, remember? Where he would sit there with the tennis ball in front of his locker.
And be the ball.
And yeah, Be the Ball was an original thing where he
see you Friday, man. See you Friday.
Mikey, peace, love, Manischewitz.
What a wine. I'm telling you, that's
see you Friday if the Lord's willing, the creek don't rise. See ya. Thank you all too.